In this video, we will cover the installation process of the electrified overland GTSlide, along with its upgradable accessory, the molle back panel. Please watch the entire video first before starting your installation. Let's begin. Your GTSlide kit will include all the necessary hardware to complete the installation. There are some tools that are required to do so. Of these tools, you'll need a 3/16 Allen, a 5/32 Allen, a 7/16 wrench, 1/4 inch drive ratchet, 10mm socket, a 1/2 inch socket, a 7/16 socket, and a box cutter. With everything set, we'll start in the vehicle. Open both gear tunnel doors. We will want to remove the trim that's located in the bottom edge of the gear tunnel. This can be easily removed by prying a corner off and popping it out. And we can reuse this piece later on with some modifications to cover up the hardware. The rubber mat located inside the gear tunnel can also be used. This will aid in capturing any liquids or debris that might fall to the bottom of your gear tunnel. Now we can shift our focus to the box by carefully opening it with our box cutter knife. With the packaging material removed, carefully remove all the hardware in the box and inspect it to make sure you have all your parts. You will notice that the slide's bottom bracket is wrapped in cardboard box. Keep this, as this will aid you during the installation process. Next, you will need to identify which side or the orientation of the slide. There is the driver's side and the passenger side. To identify the correct orientation of the slide, take a look at the latching handles. The side where the handles are closer to the sled is for the driver's side. You'll note that the opposite side is a little bit further. This is due to the stacking of the heavy-duty slides. With a friend's help, carefully remove the slide out of the box. Now that you know the slide's orientation, you can now insert the slide into the gear tunnel. By leaving the cardboard wrapped around the bottom bracket, it will help you slide the system into your gear tunnel without causing damage. With the cardboard removed from the bottom bracket, we can begin fastening using the M6 hardware supplied in your kit. Combined with the flat washer and split washer, this can be put in hand tight. Keep it loose so that we can adjust this at a later time. With the slide secured on the passenger side, pull it out a few inches so we can begin work on the driver's side. Check the alignment of the bottom bracket and the threaded holes located on the gear tunnel. If they do not match, do not worry. This can be easily adjustable by loosening the screws on both sides of the bracket. There is some adjustment that allows the bracket to move inward or outward. This can be done with the 5/32 Allen and the 7/16 wrench. Carefully loosen all 4 bolts, but don't completely remove them. Then, adjust the bottom bracket so that the holes line up with the threaded hole. Then, carefully tighten the bracket back up without losing your adjustment. Be sure to only hand tight this. There's no need to crank on it. With the bottom bracket now secured back to the slide, we can go back and put the M6 bolts onto this side of the vehicle. Again, keep it loose for adjustment. Now we can adjust the slide forward and backward of the orientation of the vehicle. You want to try to make sure that there's an even amount of space between the edge of the slide and the trim of your gear tunnel. Match the driver's side and passenger side. Once done, then you can take your 10mm socket with your wrench and tighten the M6 bolts. Be sure not to over tighten, as you can and you may strip the threads of the threaded hole. So a good tip is to use hand tools like the ratchet and not the power tools. Check to make sure that your slide can come in and out of the vehicle without damaging the trim. Now that you're happy with it, we can next move on to the handles. The handle hardware are 4 1/4 by 20 socket heads, 4 1/4 by 20 nylon nuts, and 1/4 flat washers. You can then use your 3/16 Allen in combination with your 7/16 sockets to tighten the handlebar. Your installation is nearly complete. Now we can modify the bottom tray to hide the hardware. You'll notice that on the tray, there are 4 attachments. You will need to remove the 2 center attachments along with a section at the edge of the trim. You will notice that there's a fine line embedded. This is actually the cutting point for the original slide that Rivian has provided. They still kept the cutting line on that bottom trim. Mock the trim up against the slide so you know how wide to cut it. Then with the box cutter or a tool of your choice, you can begin by carefully cutting out the section of the trim. This is how it should look like once completed. Notice that the two center mounting points have been removed along with the square section at the edge of it. With the trim installed, you have completed the installation of the GTSlide. This next section of the video will cover the installation process of the molle back panel. We first began by inserting the 1/4 inch screw from underneath the tray at the very edge of the mounting point for the L-track. Secure that with a 1/4 inch nylon nut as shown here. This will be the mounting point for the molle back panel. Now, collect the rest of the tools that you'll need for this installation. This will include a 13mm socket for a 3/8 drive ratchet, an extension, and a 3/16 Allen. Most of the screws will be installed from the outside in, except for the bottom one. That one will go the other direction to allow clearance for additional hardware. We'll begin on one side with the screw going in from the inside towards the outside. Place a screw, a flat washer, and the corresponding nylon nut. Do this for the remainder of the holes and for the opposite end. Keep them hand tight as we will make our final adjustments once the molle back panel is installed onto the GTSlide. With the GTSlide pulled completely out of the gear tunnel, we can now fit the back panel to the slide, utilizing those screws that we installed earlier. In addition to the kit are flat washers and thumb nuts that are used to secure the panel to the slide. This will be used to quickly remove the back panel from your GTSlide or install it in once again. Once you're satisfied with the fitment, you can then use your socket and your Allen and tighten all the bolts of the panel. And lastly, double check to ensure there's no interference when pushing your GTSlide in your gear tunnel and back out again. Now your installation is complete. Please visit our website at electrifiedoverland.com for additional products for this system or any other products for your Rivian R1T and R1S. Thank you.